Good Wednesday evening, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Conversations of a Sister here on my YouTube channel. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, and tonight's conversation is Politricks in 2024. Politricks in 2024. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, when the United States will seek uh, to elect another president. As you all know, if you've been following the news and not been hiding under a rock, uh, Joe Biden's term is up this year. He has already served 4 years of his presidency. And as we know, Biden took office in 2024 during the COVID pandemic. And he's been in office 4 years already. So this year is the year that we will elect a new president. So tonight's conversation is politics in 2024. And the reason why I say politics is because politics is a dirty game. It's a game that some people play so well that they will have the people that you think are the most intelligent tricked because they will just drink their Kool Aid that they're selling and believe that it is a truth. When in all actuality, we have to see the truth of everything. You can't weigh one side. You have to weigh all sides. So I thank you for joining me tonight for tonight's conversation, Politricks 2024, as we approach our political showdown on November 5th, 2024. So there is so much happening in the news and around the world. And the topics on the minds of most people that I know is inflation, gas prices, interest rates. All of those things are on the minds of average individuals because they're calling it Bidenomics. They're saying that the Biden administration has the economy flipped upside down. And the truth of the matter is that people, businesses, individuals take advantage of certain circumstances. For example, tonight there is a major hurricane going through the state of Florida. And when I was online a couple of minutes ago, I saw I saw an ad or I saw something that stated that Biden is getting on the phone with some people because it is known or it is already being said that price gouging is going on. People are taking advantage of someone else's misfortune. So, with price gouging going on, people are taking advantage of the fact that, okay, it's a hurricane. People are fleeing the state. They're going state to state. They're traveling. So, maybe they're saying, let's raise gas prices. Let's make gas prices high. Let's raise food prices because they have to take advantage of a situation. So, if they're going to take advantage of it, this is what they're going to do. They are going to take advantage. So this is why I say politics in 2024 because, of course, they are blaming it all on Bidenomics. So let's see. We had COVID in 2020. Biden took office. He won the election fair and square, contrary to the fact that we have the opponent, Donald Trump, and MAGA saying that the election was stolen. You have Donald Trump saying to this very day that he won the election, but the election was stolen from him. We have Donald Trump seeking to get the White House again because he had a whiff of the power and he just want to have it again. Not only that, but he has to also, trying to stay out of jail. He has 34 felony convictions. He has the January 6th insurrection that he incited on the Capitol. So there's several cases facing him. So he is seeking re-election. And I think the reason why he's seeking re-election is because, like most people are stating, is because he wants to stay out of jail or he don't want to go to jail. For whatever the reason, he's seeking reelection. So, because he's seeking reelection, he's also a great fibber. He tells great stories. And right now, the media is all abuzz and headlines are crazy because they started rumors that with Hurricane Helene that happened either last week or 2 weeks ago, they're saying that FEMA don't have funds for the people because they're sending the Biden administration is sending money overseas. Let me see. They're giving money to migrants. So FEMA basically ran out of money. Um, Vice President Kamala Harris, she spoke, I think it was in Georgia a couple of days ago, and she stated, this is what she stated. She said that FEMA is starting to give checks. They're starting, she said, to give checks in the amount of $750 to some families for their immediate needs. She didn't say long term, she said immediate needs. Well, I think it was Donald Trump Jr. or one of the Trumps. They took that and they ran with it. They was like, oh, the Biden administration can give millions and millions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, and they're only giving $750 to those families that were affected by Hurricane Helene. And that is not what she said. So a lot of the information is misinformation and is being misappropriated by the Trump party. Because, of course, in an election here in the United States, you have two parties. You have the Democratic Party and you have the Republican Party. And I think that party affiliation is based upon how you were raised and how you were influenced. Because nowadays, when you hear people speak, they will say you have to unlearn everything that you was taught. You have to basically unlearn it. And you have to know some things for yourself. Okay, so let's take my household where I grew up, for example. My parents always said that you vote Democrat. They were like, Democrats are for the poor and the disenfranchised. So you always vote Democrats. Republicans, they said, are for the wealthy and for the rich. And we don't vote Republican, we vote Democrat. This is what I was raised on. And come to find out, I was not the only one raised on it. A lot of people was raised with that same ideology. And I don't know if it's true or if it's false, but I do know. My girlfriend and I was having this conversation the other night, and she talked about the states where, or the towns and the states where taxes are high. And she said, you're going to find high taxes in Democratic run cities. You're going to find low taxes in Republican run cities. You have individuals saying that Republican run cities are better cities to live in because not only do they have lower taxes, but their quality of life is a lot better because they're Republican run states and Republican run cities, wherein you have Democratic cities that they say are in the toilet, and you have Democratic cities that support programs for the poor. For example, Head Start, lunch programs. these different things, these different freebies are supported by the Democrats. Democrat run administrations. They are for the poor. But when I think about it, I see it as uh, two heads on the same stick. I don't think that one is better than the other. And for the record, because everyone talks about Republicans, Republicans this, Republicans that. Uh, in the beginning, and this friend of mine told me this years ago, he said that the Republican Party was started by African Americans. And I thought to myself, get out of here. Like for real? Because I too felt like Republicans were racist. And I think that's not fair because individuals are individuals first. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have some people that put party over everything. It doesn't matter. They put party over everything. I listened to a speech that Liz Cheney did last week when she endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. And she specifically said, if anyone would have told me that in the future I would vote Democrat, I would have thought that they were crazy. She said, because never in my life did I think that I would be voting for a Democrat. Because Liz Cheney is Republican. Liz Cheney served in, it was either the Senate or Congress. Liz Cheney's father, Dick Cheney, was vice president to George W. Bush, and they are die-hard Republicans. But they are crossing the line because they don't like the candidate that's representing their party. So they are crossing the line and they are voting Republican. However, I did some research because I'm tired of this Republican versus the Democratic struggle. You know what? I shouldn't say struggle. Let me rephrase that. I am tired of the Democrat and Republican tug of war. That's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of the tug of war because it is a tug of war. Well, you're a Democrat. That's why you would think like that because you're brainwashed. Well, you're Republican. You would think like that because you're sold out. These are the things that I hear, and I don't think it's fair because we all have a right to our political choices, but you also have to respect those choices. You should respect someone's choices, whether Democrat or Republican. I myself, I'm a swing voter. And the reason why I'm a swing voter is because I like to vote right versus wrong. I like to vote ethical versus unethical. I like to vote integrity versus corruption. And people are like, oh my God, they're all corrupt. So you have to choose the better half. That's the part that you choose because this is not a perfect world. So we're not going to have a perfect people. Something is going to be flawed. And when you're dealing with political individuals and public figures, they are allowed to be flawed. But what we should not have is adoration for those individuals because at some point you will not agree with everything that they've done. Case in point, when Barack Obama first stepped on the scene, I had a crush on Barack Obama. I loved the way he walked. The way he walked. I loved the way he talked. He was an eloquent speaker. We all know that as president. He had class, he had poise, he had position, he was handsome, he was gorgeous. Oh, but when he started rolling out his policies, I was completely turned off. And this was in his second term. I was completely turned off by Barack Obama. And that was my wake up call that I had a right to be turned off and that I was not going to agree with everything that was done because I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to admire him because he's a public figure. Yes, he was a handsome president. Yes, he had class. Yes, he handled everything with dignity and grace. Yes, sometimes he turned the cheek too much. Yes, but sometimes when you are this color and skin, you have to be or you have to take the higher ground. It's like Michelle said, when they go low, we go high because that's who they were. And we all heard her speech at the DNC, didn't we? When she said, I wasn't getting back in the political game. She said, I don't miss that spotlight. She said, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed serving my country in the years that we served in the White House. But I wouldn't want to go back in that spotlight for anything, she said, because we dealt with racism. We dealt with the criticism. We had to hold our tongues and bite our tongues because there's certain things we couldn't talk about or certain things that couldn't have been said. We're not. But when you look at the things that are being said now from Donald Trump and some of the Republicans in the Republican Party, it is a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace to run for any office and to be known as a liar. And Donald Trump is a liar. He is a flat out liar. And I know some of you are thinking, what politician is not? What politician does not lie? Because they all lie at some point. I think that they may have to lie when they can't hold a position to something. For example, in that debate, when Kamala Harris was asked, you failed at going to the border. What happened? You didn't go to the border. You never went to the border. What happened? That was an honest question because she never went to the border. The only thing she did was she addressed it and she said, don't come. She said, don't come. That was it. But she never went to the border. But now, because she's seeking election, she went to the border. When it would have been great for her to say in the debate, no, I did not go to the border. I was making collard greens that day. I was cooking beans and right, say anything as to why you never went to the border. But to just evade the question is not a good look. But then she had to backpedal it and say, well, I didn't go to the border, but we tried to pass a border bill and Donald Trump blocked it because this is the very issue that he wanted to run on. And that's the truth. And the reason why we know that's the truth is because his tweet was shared to House Representative Johnson when he said, don't pass the border bill. I plan to run on that in the 2024 election. That's what he said. I hope inflation stay up because I plan to run on that in the 2024 election. These are the things that he said. I don't want the interest rate to drop because I plan to run on that in the 2024 election. These are all politics. Because at the end of the day, the economy is not about Donald Trump. It's not about him. It's about the divine course of action. That's what it's about. It's about the divine course of action. But some people can't see that. So, the Republican Party versus the Democratic Party. It is accurate that the Republican Party was formed, I think it was in 1863, to oppose slavery. Because at the time, Democrats were for slavery when Republicans pledged not to interfere with slavery in states where it existed. So the Republican Party was formed to oppose slavery. So African Americans felt safe in the Republican Party because the party opposed slavery. And there was a black man elected in 1863 to the Republican Party. It was a black man who started the Republican Party because they were opposed to slavery. Because although there was the Emancipation Proclamation, slavery still existed in some states. This is why it is said that Texas did not find out until 2 years later. So, if the Republican Party was formed to oppose slavery, what happened? What changed it? What changed it was you had white men coming in, not liking the protection. You had more black men being elected to Congress under the Republican Party, and they didn't like it because they felt like these African Americans were getting ahead. And just like everything else, they wanted to hold them back. So, this is how the Republican Party was reformed and galvanized. And as I was reading about what happened in the past, they were making comparisons to what has happened now. So, the former Republican Party was that of John McCain, God rest his soul, Dick Cheney, all of the Bushes, Mitt Romney, because you remember when Barack Obama ran for president in 2008 and he won, and when McCain did his acceptance speech and mentioned Obama, the crowd started to boo. And McCain stopped the crowd. He said, no, no, no. He said, no. He stopped the crowd and said, no, we're not going to do that. He said, he's now our president of the United States. He's a good man, and we're going to respect that. That was a real politician. That was a decent Republican. That was a decent opponent. So now they said the Republican Party has been transformed. It is now the party of Donald Trump. So if Donald Trump is head of the Republican Party, let's look at the head. So the head formed a coup on the Capitol, a coup, an insurrection, where he sent a mob to try and overturn the election. And yet he's running again. See, I don't have a problem with Republicans or Democrats. What I have a problem with is accountability. When people do things and think that they should not be held accountable, that is what I have a problem with. I have a problem with the fact that he's even allowed to run for re-election with 34 convictions under his belt. I have a problem with the fact that the Republican Party is supporting this type of candidate, but yet put the pressure on Biden to, I don't know, roll over and die, roll over and just let him beat you because he can, because you're old, and this is going to be like a walk in the park. That's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with the Democrats changing their candidate and the Republicans did not. That's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with the politricks in this election because they are politricks. And I think that it is very clear to see where the lies are and wherein lies the truth. And what is your better devil? Because the devil is in details. I had a friend tell me uh, the other day, he was like, fuck it. I don't care who wins. Fuck them both. He said, I don't care who wins. And he's saying that because he feels as though both candidates suck. And to an extent, I agree. However, there is the lesser of two evils, and that's the choice that one has to make. But in the meantime, I think that it is important to do your homework, to know the difference, and to see the truth of the matter. Because there is a truth behind the matter. And it is our responsibility to seek and to know that truth by election day on November 5th of 2024. So I have a question in the chat. Do I care who wins the election? That's a very good question. I think that Kamala Harris is correct in saying, do you want 4 years of drama, or do you want 4 years of moving the country ahead? And I think that the interest rates are down. They are. I think that inflation is improving. They are. I think that the job market is in a great place. It is. And I think that in another year, 6 months to a year, the economy will improve. But I think that under Donald Trump's leadership, we would have more drama than anything. And why is that? Because he likes the attention that he would get for the press. And not only that, let's think about it. He said from day one, he is going to be the president of revenge. He's going after everyone who came after him. And the number one person that he's going to go after is Jack Smith, because Jack Smith is the one who is opening up the federal case regarding January 6th outside of his immunity release that he received from the Supreme Court. Jack Smith found a way around it, and he's going after him for that. So if he becomes president, he's going to get rid of not only Jack Smith, but the DOJ. He despises the DOJ. And people says that it's a lie, but all you have to do is listen to him. Listen to him, and you will hear his truth, because he tells on himself every time. So he will be a president of revenge. He is going to go after everyone who came after him, because he has to. He has to put a stop of ever being held accountable. And that's why it's Politricks 2024. So to answer the question, I will vote for Homie the Clown before I cast a vote for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has no integrity. I believe that he does not like women, contrary to what he says. I think that he sees women as, I don't know, deplorable, beneath men. He doesn't like women. He's not for women. And neither is J.D. Vance, his opponent. Because after all, I would fit in the category of the single cat ladies. So I know doggone well that I would not be casting a vote for that ticket. So do your homework, people. Know the politics of 2024. And don't forget that on November 5th, Election Day, cast your vote and be smart about it. Until next week, we'll talk to you then. Have a great night. Bye.